Let's talk about weight gain, and I mean in the good way, in gaining muscle mass. If you're a skinny man and want to gain weight, this is what you should do. And everything I'm gonna say is based on what I would do, and if I were to go back in time when I was skinny as well, what would I change and what would I do? Some things I've done right since I'm here. But number one thing is when it comes to food. It's gonna be the basic obvious factor to how your body gonna perform. It's like the fuel to your car. So great food, and I don't mean be extremely specific. When it comes to food, don't overthink it too much and make it extremely strict, because that will be boring and probably you're gonna drop out and not be consistent with it. Instead, try to find things that you like eat and that are gonna be good for you. High protein source, high carbs, maybe a bit less fat. But if we have those two, that's a solid foundation. And the overall mindset I like to have when it comes to food is don't focus on the things that you shouldn't eat, focus on things that you want to eat, and that sort of reduces you thinking of the things that's not good for you. So instead, plan the things that you want to have and make sure that they are pretty good for you. That's the key point. Then when it comes to training, to gain mass, it's not gonna be doing the planche hold or planche leans. We want to have a bit more repetitions and increased reps, increased sets, and that's gonna build the mass. So I would focus on doing dips and pull-ups and being in that range. I would also add weighted exercises such as bench press, deadlift, and these fundamental exercises. And the weight, I would choose it so that I can do 10 reps and have roughly 3 repetitions in reserve when I'm done. Because at that state, I know that the intensity is pretty high, but it's not my 1 rep max, so not too close. That would be the fundamental part about the training. Then of course we have other factors that are gonna affect. One thing is not to overtrain. It's easy that when you're having motivation or you really know your purpose, that you train too much. I've done that mistake, so I would reduce my training a little bit. So train about 5 times per week, I would say is pretty decent. And try not to train the same muscles one day after another. The other key point is gonna be sleep. Sleep is important. We've been told it since we were small kids, but really understand how much things can change when you get your sleep right. And sometimes you're not gonna notice it directly. Like if I have 1 day of bad sleep, that might not affect me here. But if I have multiple days of bad sleep, that's gonna affect me in the long run, and might be things that I can't really notice. Might be that my body is just not as capable as it should be. 8 hours, of course, is a great aim, but if you get a bit less from time to time, absolutely fine too, but aiming for it about 8 hours. And since this is most likely to people who are pretty new to training, I want them to understand, or I want you to understand, that training and results take time. To some degree, pretty insane to go to the gym, you do a full workout, but directly after you're gonna see no change. And you do it the same day or the day after, you look yourself in the mirror, no change. You do this for a long time, and that's when you start to see a small change, but not day-to-day basis. It's gonna be almost impossible to see a change. So expect it to take a bit longer than you planned, and I strongly recommend as well to take some photographs of yourself when you start, and maybe at least once a week, just so you measure progress. This is not so you can post on social media or anything. This is gonna be for you to understand how much you've actually changed. Because if you just look like,
I don't really see a big change.
Me personally, I can look at myself in the mirror and be like, oh, I look like this 1 year ago. But when I see pictures of myself, I see that there has happened a lot. I've got a lot of progress, body-wise and skill-wise. So measure progress or save progress is a key factor as well, to make sure that you are getting enough motivation, because it's hard to see from day to day. Also, one mistake I did when I was younger was, let's say, training for the body or the summer form. So I trained really good, had great routines during winter and everything. But when it came to summer, I started to cut down a bit on food and things because I wanted to be lean. And that's something that if a young person would ask me if they should do it, I would absolutely say no. Because even if I'm 21 years old now, I still don't really feel like I should be cutting down, because I'm in the building phase. And the earlier you are in your progress journey, the more you should focus on the long-term result. And eating good and almost eating a bit too much, that is gonna be more beneficial in building and having strength. Because if you're in the gym and you have enough energy, you are gonna perform way better. Being lean is not necessarily the best way to, you know, actually gain strength, because you have most likely less protein intake and less carbs, less energy. So the workouts will be a bit boring. The only beneficial factor is that you're gonna look better, be lean, and to some degree, if you're doing a calisthenics competition or something, it can be beneficial to drop some weight, but only during a short period of time. Because now when I'm training, or if I want to gain strength or mass, I want to eat. That's not gonna be like the limiting factor. The limiting factor should be other things, not that I'm eating too little. So that's just something to have in mind. Rather eat a bit too much than too little. I hope that helped if you're a skinny man. So let's put on some mass, and I will see you guys in the gym. Ciao, ciao.